Thanks, Maharaj.
Did you start?
Yeah. Maharaj, you want to say the Jaya Dvani? You can turn on that microphone also.
Jai Sisi Guru Guranga Ganarvika Giridhari Radhabino Bihari Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Radha Govind Radha Gopinath Radha Mohan Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhaktivedanta Shri Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Trivikram Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Bhakti Balavatirtha Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Bhakti Daita Mara Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Raksha Shri Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Jagaguru Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Avirbhav Chirba. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shishman Shri Bhakti Vilas Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pavishta Maharashtra Turzat Shrimad Kaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Saptang Goswami Shri Satchidanand Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhadragana Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasragana Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Roy Ramandari Kaur Parshvini Ki Jai. Namachar Shari Das Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Shri Antadreep Mayapur Samantadreep Gaurudramdreep Rudradreep Madhudreep Koladreep Richidreep Janudreep Madhudramdreep Rudimabha Krishnavadreep Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govinda Varasamana Krishna Brajmanda Ki Jai. Shri Gaurmanda Shri Kshetramangal Ki Jai. Chardam Char Sampradaya Chai Chai Rindi Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhaja Shri Shan Chakraju Ki Jai. Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhagwan Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri what Purnima? Chaitra Purnima.
Baladev.
Chaitra Purnima Ki Jai. Shri Baladev. Rasya Purnima Ki Jai. Shri Shamananda Prabhu. Vamsivaran Prabhu. Vamsivarana Das Prabhu Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavri Raya Samagata Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur
Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Also Krishna Vasanta Ras Purnima as well.
Vasanti Rasa.
No, Vasanta.
Yeah, Vasanta
on the calendar.
Okay, that's her.
Is his springtime Ras Leela. Okay, Maharaj, why don't you do a kirtan for us? You want kartals or you want a gong? The Ganga's not here. No, it's not here because it's at the repair shop. Of course, we could get one from the temple room.
There's one in the office.
In the office?
Yeah, there's.
Oh.
In the back room in the office.
Okay.
Madhusudan Prabhu.
You want to go there to the office and get the mridanga? He said it's in the back room of the office. Where Madhusudan sits or the opposite side?
The opposite.
Yeah.
Back office.
Yeah.
Also, Hanuman Jayanti today.
I heard it's not on our Vaishnava calendar.
But it's confirmed.
Okay. Jai Hanuman. I just read last night incredible pastimes of not just Hanuman. It's the war now. And now Ravana has come out for the first time. I'm all the way up to that point. and Hanuman. But not just Hanuman, Sugriva, Nala, all these other great powerful monkeys, they just completely wiped out the armies. And even though they were very great warrior, the Rakshasa demon warriors, but they just like, it's so interesting because for each killing, this describes in detail how he killed them, And sometimes it was just smashing them with a boulder, Sometimes the boulder was shot with arrows and broken to pieces, so it couldn't hit the mark. Sometimes Hanuman then just came there and with his bare hands, he ripped them apart, It's just endless. But it's getting near the end. But I just finished Kumbhakarna. Wow. And you know who finally killed Kumbhakarna? Lakshman.
Lakshman, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. No, mistake. Kumbhakarna, also Lakshman, was firing at him. But in the end, nobody could kill him because he had a certain boon from Brahma. And then Ram, he also had an arrow that had been given a boon from Brahma to counteract that other boon, right? And then when he shot his arrow, Ram cut off one arm. Then the demon kept coming. Then he cut off the other arm. Then the demon kept coming. Then he cut off the feet. But the demon still kept coming, And what was the last one? I forget which one was the last one. But I mean, reading Ramayana is really, you're tasting the Vira Ras all the way through. Vira Ras, Okay.
Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Should play kartals. And if you don't know how to play them, you gotta learn. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Follow. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Bolo Hari Bol.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur,
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur.
Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Balaram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Balaram.
Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Balarama. Nityananda Ram, Jaya
Nitai
Balarama.
Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jaya Radha, Vinod Bihari Radha, Vinod Bihari Radhe.
Jaya Radha Vinod Bihari, Radha Vinod Bihari, Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe.
Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Gopinath Radha, Gopinath Radhe.
Jaya Radha Gopinata, Radha Gopinata, Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe.
Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radha Raman.
Jaya Radha Raman, Radha Raman, Radha Raman, Jaya Radha.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo.
Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo.
Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
So today we are celebrating a few different events and personalities listed on the Vaishnava calendar. And of course, the main event is the full moon, the purnima, and it's Baladev, Rasayatra Purnima. There's two Baladev Purnimas. One is when Baladev is born. But the Baladev or Balaram Rasayatra Purnima, that's today. Comes every year at this time. And this is the day that Lord Balaramji, he returned to Vrindavan after the Brijvasis had been dying in separation for years and years on end. And then the beautiful description is there in 10th canto, how Baladev Prabhu appeased their separation. We're going to read that today, directly from the Srimad Bhagavatam, or the Krishna book. It's also very sweet how Prabhupada narrates that pastime. But also on this day, because it's Purnima, when Krishna was in Vrindavan, in the latter period of his years in Vrindavan, he used to dance the Ras Leela in the Vasanta, in the springtime, and on the Purnima night. So this is also that day. This is before Krishna left Braj and didn't return. Went to Mathura, Dwarka, etc. So both of those days are on this Ras Purnima day. Then of course there's the, what's it called? The autumn Ras, I forgot the word. Yeah, Sharadiya Ras. Described in the 10th canto. The Ras Leela that is described there by Shukadeva Goswami is the autumn season, and that was the first Ras Leela that Krishna danced with the gopis. And after that, if anybody goes on Braj Mandala Prikrama, you will learn very quickly that as you go all throughout the different 12 forests of Braj, there are many, many Leela Stalis, and there's many Rasa Stalis. In Kamyavan, in this forest, and that forest. So actually, that pastime of Ras Leela was enacted by Krishna with the gopis all throughout Braj Mandala, But especially these two are prominent. And why are they prominent? Because one is the first one, the very first Ras Leela, that Krishna, how he met with the gopis, and those 5 chapters, Ras Panchadhyay. But the Vasanta Ras is described by Jayadev Goswami. And that is very, very authoritative literature accepted by all of the acharyas, and supreme poetry of Jayadev Goswami. So in that Vasanta Ras, it's very beautifully described how Radha and Krishna are meeting and separating, and how Srimati Radhika, she leaves the Rasa dance. In the Sharadiya, Krishna leaves, but Krishna also takes someone with him when he leaves, right? But in the Vasanta Ras, then Krishna is there dancing, and suddenly he experiences that the Ras, what he was tasting, has gone way down. From such an exaltation, now it came down. And Krishna was wondering what, he looked here, where's Radhika? She's gone. So that Ras, to the Rupanuga Acharyas, is very dear to their hearts. Why? Because the Rupanugas, they always want to see that Krishna is suffering in separation from Radhika. They enjoy very much to see that Krishna is suffering because of separation from Radhika. And of course, the pastimes of the associates of Radha and Krishna, especially the younger Manjari associates, their whole existence, the whole purpose of their existence is to connect Radha and Krishna, to bring them together. And so that's the exciting pastimes that are taking place eternally in the Nitya Dham. We can't even imagine. Because we think, well, okay, I heard that pastime and this happened and that happened. But no, in the Nitya Dham, it's unlimited, infinite, ananta pastimes. So, how Radha and Krishna are meeting, how they are separating, this is all going on eternally. So the great benediction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give to the jivas in this Danya Kali Yuga was never given before. Never can be given, never will be given before. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the combination of Radha and Krishna, can give this. And that's because Radhika joined with Krishna. That now this has become available for the jivas in the Danya Kali Yuga, that they can attain this position of servitude in the line of Rupa Goswami, in the Nitya Dham, in the Bauma Leela first, in one of the universes, when the sadhaka becomes matured and has approached already to the stage of bhav, and in the stage of bhav is the practitioner has advanced almost to the stage of prema. And just at that very time, then Yogamaya takes. We were just reading this in Ragvartma Chandrika. It was mentioned a number of times in that book, in Ragvartma Chandrika book. So, in this way, the pastimes of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu's great gift that he came to give, Anarpita Chirim Chirat Kurunayavatirna Kalo. Samarpaitum Unatojvala Rasam Swabhakti Shri Yam. Our Gurudev quoted this verse, one of the most quoted verses by our Gurudev, when he's narrating the gift that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And that verse is written by Rupa Goswami. So there it's told that Samarpaitum, he came to give in this Kali Yuga what has not been given before. Anarpita Chirim Chirat. For a very long time. That means billions and billions of years. Specifically calculated through the universal time frame of Brahma and his days and nights and kalpas and all of that. But it is only given once in an entire day and night of Brahma, in his 24 hours, which is 8.6 billion years. That's how long time it has not been given. So Rupa Goswami said, Anarpita hasn't been given, Charim Chirat. Very long time. But now, Karunayavatirna Kalo, now out of his causeless mercy, he has descended in Kali Yuga to do what? Samarpaitum, to give that has not been given. And what is that? Unnata Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti Shriyam. And that specifically is referring to what can be given to the jivas. Can Unnata Ujvala Ras be given to the jivas? No. It cannot be. We were with Gurudev in Australia on his first tour in Australia. And then for about 2 weeks he was at the house of Brajaballabha Prabhu. And all the classes that he gave were made into a book. And later combined with another book. Pinnacle of Devotion. And there very specifically, very beautifully, very carefully, Srila Gurudev he began to express what is this great gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he stressed very much that the Unnata Ujvala Rasa Swabhakti, that means Srimati Radhika's Mahabhav Prem, that cannot be given to the jivas. But Swabhakti Shriyam, the Shriyam means the beauty of that which is manifested in the forms of the manjaris. They are tasting what Srimati Radhika is tasting in her exchanges with Krishna. And that has never been given before to the jiva, never been made available. So that mood of Radha Dasyam is the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Yes, he has come to give Harinam Samkirtan to the jivas. Yeah, because it is through Harinam Samkirtan that they will gradually advance and they will come into the line of the Rupanuga Acharyas. They will practice Uttama Bhakti, and gradually they will reach the higher and higher stages. So that was given by Mahaprabhu, and he himself tasted it. But what was he tasting? He was tasting Srimati Radhika's prem. When he was doing kirtan, he was always overwhelmed by Srimati Radhika's moods and her prem. Here in Navadwip, and then later on after taking sannyas, especially in Jagannath Puri in the final 12, 18 years, in the final years, then Mahaprabhu was absorbed day and night, day and night, day and night. So the narration of Jayadev Goswami for Krishna's Vasanta Ras is very much relished by the Rupanuga Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And it is our praman, it is our evidence showing that actually this Ras Leela was the highest. And Gurudev also explained that in this particular Ras Leela of Krishna, there were only specific categories of gopis who were dancing in that Ras Leela. But in the first Ras Leela, described the Vasanta Ras, the Sharadiya Ras, then there are many categories of gopis, even gopis who from their previous lives were benedicted because of their worship, that they could take birth in Braj. All the different groups and categories of various rishis and personalities who in their previous life they qualified. And now they were given the result by receiving a gopi body, actually taking birth in Bauma Lila, in Braj. And then they performed their Katyayani Vrat. And then Srimati Radhika came with the Nitya Siddha gopis at the last day. And then Krishna came. So all of these beautiful pastimes are there in Srimad Bhagavatam and in Jayadev Goswami's beautiful book, Gita Govinda. So also today is the appearance day of Sri Shyamananda Prabhu, who was the associate of Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasacharya. They're called Prabhu Trai, the three Prabhus. And Shyamananda Prabhu has a very beautiful story about his life and how he got the name Shyamananda. And then also the other personality whose appearance day is today is Vamshi Vadan Ananda. There's different pronunciations of it. Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj told sometimes he's just called Vamshi Vadan Thakur or something like that. Vamshi Vadan Thakur. But also his name in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vamshi Vadan Ananda or Vamshi Vadananda. So who is he? He's incarnation of Krishna's flute in Gaur Leela. Can you imagine? So, but what was his function and role? He served Srimati Sachi Devi and her household after Mahaprabhu went to take sannyas. And prior to that, he was a very intimate associate of Mahaprabhu. Yeah.
Is it mentioned anywhere which flute of Krishna he's?
No, not that I've seen. He's the flute. Maybe all the flutes are incarnated in him, but we have not heard yet which flute. And so Shyamananda Prabhu, you know that story, Maharaj? Shyamananda Prabhu and how he was sweeping in Vrindavan and he found something. You know that? Can you tell? How many of you have gone to the Radha Shyama Sundar temple in Vrindavan? Raise your hand. You've seen the deities there. Radha Shyama Sundar. There's a number of different deities on the altar there. But there's even a deity of Krishna, Shyama Sundar, given to... We're going to hear about that now.
So, how many of you have been to Seva Kunj, Vrindavan, Seva Kunj? Seva Kunj. Okay, so now we'll leave Navadwip, Keshivji Gaurimath, and we'll go to Vrindavan, to Seva Kunj.
That ship is open.
So,
oh, you closed it, sir. Yeah.
This is a very special place, and it's called Seva Kunj because Krishna is engaging in so much seva to Srimati Radharani. And we know that there's another place across the gully, Shringarvat, where Krishna is also decorating Srimati Radharani and decorating her hair and stuff like that. So also in Seva Kunj, it's also a Rasa Stali where Radha and Krishna perform in Rasa Leela. But it's a place especially where Krishna is giving seva to Srimati Radharani. A very sacred place, and you can go there, except don't go there in the evening. They close the gates of Seva Kunj. Even the monkeys leave. And in the past, we've heard of different devotees that thought they had some greed, and they tried to enter and they hid, and so. But they were later those devotees who tried to sneak in to Seva Kunj, and because what are the qualifications of entering into those divine intimate pastimes of divine couple? Is very, very exalted pastime. So either those persons were found dead, or they had gone crazy. They because of the disqualification to be there and trying to cheat. So it's very powerful seva, and every day you see persons that are sweeping the kunj. Now they've made a cage around it because the monkeys are very aggressive there. But still you can see that different people are sweeping the kunjas of there in Seva Kunj. So one time Shamananda, and there's a whole story. At first his name was Duki, and then by the mercy of in Kalna, he resided in Kalna, and he was given the name Duki Krishnadas by Gauri. Could you speak a little louder?
Yeah, Hriday Chaitanya, disciple of Gauri Das Pandit.
Disciple of Gauri Das Pandit. That's the name I was thinking of. So they because his mother named him Duki at the time of birth because he had his siblings had died. And so
what's the meaning of the word Duki?
So Duki means sad, a sadness. So they decided to name him that to ward off ill omens, etc., etc. Also, when Nimai was born, he was named Nim because he had eight sisters were died before death. I still want to find out who those 8 persons were. So anyway, he was named Duki Krishnadas, which was later changed by Jiva Goswami to Shaman, or actually Radharani herself. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
Well, first he was named Suki.
Yeah, he changed
after Duki, then it was changed to Suki.
Mahaprabhu changed it to Suki,
yes,
which means happiness. So he was sweeping in the courtyard there at Seva Kunj, and he found a very special bangle, a jewel out of the bangle, and he immediately, because it was found in a sacred place, he touched it to his forehead, and some say that's how he got the special mark of his followers, and he has a special tilak mark. Was given was from the bangle, but it's also said by other personalities that Radharani herself touched him with the bangle, and that's how he has that special tilak which his followers use. So he was told by his Shiksha Guru, Jiva Goswami, when he showed him that bangle, he said, be very careful, do not give this bangle to anyone except for the owner of the bangle. And so he was approached by different ladies, and she said, different Sakis, they explained, our Swamini has lost her bangle. We think you found her bangle. He said, yes, but you tell her I will not give it to anyone but her herself. So Srimati Radharani herself came, and so then Duki Krishna placed that bangle on Radharani's feet. But before she touched it to his head and became that mark on their followers. So what else?
Jiva Goswami, he didn't approve of that tilak mark. He said we have to follow the instructions of the previous
Shiksha Guru,
Acharya.
Jiva Goswami said, why aren't you wearing the normal tilak that Vaishnavas wear? That is not good. I don't approve of this. So, but Shamananda, which his name became because of that tilak also, he tried to remove it, but it would always reappear. He tried to remove it, so it wouldn't go away. So it was permanent tilak.
So therefore Jiva Goswami accepted it.
Yes, he realized how auspicious it was.
And that's why all the followers since that time, 500 years ago, they all put on that tilak. shaped like...
So his name was given by Jiva Goswami or
I think by Jiva Goswami, but he received something very special from Srimati Radhika. What was that?
Oh, so in appreciation of finding her bangle, he himself put it on her lotus feet. Radharani gave him a deity of Sham, her beloved, Sham Sundar, a small deity. If you go to the Sham Sundar temple, there's a big Shama Sundar, but that was given by Baladeva Vijayabhushan, I believe. But there's a smaller, to the right of those deities, there's a smaller Radha and Krishna, a Shama Sundar there as well. And if you go around the temple, you can go and visit the Bhajan Kutir of Shamananda Prabhu. Underneath the ground, it was a cave, but now there's steps to it. And once in a while you can get entrance into there. It's about 15 feet underground. It's very, very nice. So today is his Transcendental Avirbhav Mahotsava. We pray to the lotus feet of Shamananda Prabhu to please shower causeless mercy of his dedication and sincere mood of devotion and seva to Srimati Radharani. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. So now we're going to read from the Krishna book of Srila Prabhupada, where he's describing Lord Balaram's visit to Vrindavan. It's chapter 65 of the 10th canto. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Itadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Trishe Nama. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, summary study of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, written by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, whom I offer my unlimited Dandavat pranams at His Divine Lotus Feet. I offer my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad, Ashtatara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatara Sata Shri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, all of my Sri Rupa Nuga Acharyas. So Lord Balaram, he became very anxious to see his father and his mother in Vrindavan. It had been a long time, right? Since Krishna had left Vrindavan, Balaram had left Vrindavan. But at this stage of Krishna's pastimes, Lord Balaram, he became very anxious to see his father and mother in Vrindavan. So therefore, with great enthusiasm, he started on a chariot for Vrindavan. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, they had been anxious to see Krishna and Balaram for a very long time. This is like decades. Decades. So when Lord Balaram returned to Vrindavan, then all the cowherd boys and the gopis, they had grown up. But still, on his arrival, they all embraced him. And then Balaram embraced them in reciprocation.
So it's not mentioning who the mother and father are. Can you judge?
That's coming. It's coming. So all the cowherd boys and the gopis, they'd grown up, but still on his arrival, they all embraced him. And then Balaram embraced them in reciprocation. So after this, he came before Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda, and he offered his respectful obeisances. In response, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj offered their blessings unto him. They addressed him as Jagad Ishwar, or the Lord of the universe who maintains everyone. The reason for this was that Krishna and Balaram, they maintain all living entities. And yet Nanda and Yashoda were put into such difficulties on account of their absence. So feeling like this, they embraced Balaram, and seating him on their laps, they began their perpetual crying, wetting Balaram with their tears. Lord Balaram then offered his respectful obeisances to the elderly cowherd men, and he accepted the obeisances of the younger cowherd men. And thus, according to their different ages and relationships, Lord Balaram exchanged feelings of friendship with them. He shook hands with those who were his equals in age and in friendship, and with loud laughing, he embraced each one of them. So after being received by the cowherd men and boys, then the gopis and King Nanda and Yashoda, then Lord Balaram sat down, feeling satisfied, and they all surrounded him. First, Lord Balaram inquired from them about their welfare. And then, since they had not seen him for such a long time, they began to ask him different questions. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, they had sacrificed everything for Krishna, simply being captivated by the lotus eyes of the Lord. And because of their great desire to love Krishna, they never desired anything like elevation to the heavenly planets, or merging into the effulgence of Brahman to become one with the absolute truth. They were not even interested in enjoying a life of opulence, but they were satisfied in living a simple life in the village as cowherds. They were always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, and they did not desire any personal benefits. And they were all so much in love with him that in his absence their voices faltered, and when they began to inquire from Balaramji. So first Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai inquired. So there was a question raised by Sajan Maharaj about who were his mother and father, Balaram, right? So, do we not know that Balaram is the son of Rohini Mata? Therefore his name is Rohini Nandana, right? Who is Rohini? Yes, she's one of Vasudev's wives. Why was she in Vrindavan when Vasudeva and Devaki were in the prison house of Kamsa? Why was she there in Vrindavan? Yeah, she was sent there to be in a safe situation. Vasudeva sent her there. So Rohini Ma was present during all of Krishna and Balaram's pastimes, their entire Braj Leela pastimes. But then after Krishna and Balaram went to Mathura and the killing of Kamsa took place, then after that they were liberated from the prison situation, and now Rohini Ma was brought. So for the rest of her life, she was living in Mathura at first, and then moved to Dwarka. So we see in Brihad Bhagavatamritam and various other places, in Srimad Bhagavatam also, that Rohini Ma, she was the only person who actually witnessed with her very own eyes all the pastimes of Krishna in Braj. She is a Brijbasi, you can say. And she is the one who enlightened all the queens. Because the queens, they were just always very frustrated that no matter how much, deepest heartfelt love and service, their prem seva to Krishna, they could always see that Krishna was always thinking about the gopis. How could they notice that? Because in the middle of the night, Krishna's pillow would be just wet with tears, and he would be calling out their names in the middle of the night, and the wives of Krishna sleeping next to him, they were just astonished all the time. So they had to be educated, and Rohini Maya, she educated them by narrating the pastimes of Krishna, how sweet those pastimes were, and how the gopis prem, and especially Srimati Radharani. But was Nanda and Yashoda also the father and mother of Balaram? Yeah? How? How were they the father and mother of Balaram? Yeah, because Balaram didn't take birth from the womb of Mother Yashoda, right? He took birth from the womb of Rohini Maya. But prior to that, was he in another location? Where? In the womb of Devaki. For the first 7 months of her pregnancy. And then it appeared to everyone that her 7th pregnancy became a miscarriage, right? But what actually occurred? Yogamaya transferred Balaram, who is non-different, who is Ananta Shesh himself, and now the womb of Mother Devaki had been prepared for the entrance of Krishna, and then she transferred Balaram to the womb of Mother Rohini. Okay? And therefore he has a particular name that is addressing, or he's named for how he became irresistibly drawn. Sankarshan. Yes. So Sankarshan Balaram came from the womb of Devaki into the womb of Mother Rohini. But although Rohini Maya was not the wife of Nanda Maharaj, there was a certain etiquette there. Because Nanda Maharaj was like the cousin brother of Vasudeva, and those kind of family ties were very, very intimate. So she was put under the protection of Nanda Maharaj, and when Balaram was born before Krishna, became his older brother, so then Balaram, he grew up from day one, considering that Nanda Maharaj is his father, and even that Mother Yashoda is his mother, like his second mother, So in that way, the beautiful, sweet moods of Braja, and all of the exchanges of the Brijbasis with Krishna and Balaram, they were all witnessed by Rohini Maya. And that was a plan by Yoga Maya, that she would play that role of narrating these pastimes. Yes. So Balaram has now arrived in Vrindavan, and now he's exchanging and inquiring how is their life going? So after being received by the cowherd men and boys, the gopis and King Nanda and Yashoda, Lord Balaram sat down feeling satisfied, and they all surrounded him. And then first Lord Balaram inquired from them about their welfare, and then, since they had not seen him for such a long time, they began to ask him different questions. And what were their questions? It was only about Krishna. How is Krishna? Why? Because the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they had sacrificed everything for Krishna. Yes. And they were simply always captivated by the lotus eyes of the Lord. And they had no other desires. They were very satisfied living in a simple life in the village as cowherds, gopas. So they were always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. They did not desire any personal benefits. And they were all so much in love with him that in his absence their voices faltered when they began to inquire from Balaramji. Now first, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, they inquired, "My dear Balaram, are our friends like Vasudeva and others in the family doing well? Now you and Krishna are grown up, married men with children, and you are in the happiness of family life. Do you sometimes remember your poor father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi? It is very good news that the most sinful King Kamsa has been killed by you, and that our friends like Vasudeva and the others who have been harassed, they have now been relieved. It is also very good news that you and Krishna defeated Jarasandha and Kalyavana, who is now dead, and that you are now living in a fortified residence in Dwarka." Now when the gopis arrived, then Lord Balaram glanced over them with loving eyes. Being overjoyed, the gopis who had so long been mortified on account of Krishna's and Balaram's absence, they began to ask about the welfare of the two brothers. And they specifically asked Balaram whether Krishna was enjoying his life surrounded by the enlightened women of Dwarkapuri. They asked him, does he sometimes remember his father Nanda and his mother Yashoda and the other friends with whom he so intimately behaved while in Vrindavan? Does Krishna have any plans to come here to see his mother Yashoda? And does he remember us gopis who are now pitiably bereft of his company? Krishna may have forgotten us in the midst of the cultured women of Dwarka, but as far as we are concerned, we still remember him by collecting flowers and sewing them into garlands. And when he does not come, however, we simply pass our time by crying. If only he would come here and accept these garlands that we have made. Oh dear Lord Balaram, descendant of Dasharha, You know that we would give up everything for Krishna's friendship. Even in great distress, one cannot give up the connection of family members. But, although it might be impossible for others, we gave up our fathers, mothers, sisters, and relatives. But then, Krishna, without caring a pinch for our renunciation, all of a sudden, he renounced us and he went away. He broke off our intimate relationship without serious consideration. And he left for a foreign country. But he was so clever and cunning that he manufactured very nice words. He said, "My dear gopis, please do not worry. The service you have rendered me is impossible for me to repay. After all, we are women, so how could we disbelieve him? Now we can understand that his sweet words were simply for cheating us." Protesting Krishna's absence from Vrindavan, another gopi said, "My dear Balaramji, we are of course village girls, so Krishna could cheat us in that way. But what about the women of Dwarka? Don't think they are as foolish as we are. We village women might be misled by Krishna, but the women in the city of Dwarka are very clever and very intelligent. So therefore, I would be surprised if such city women could be misled by Krishna and could believe his words." Then another gopi, she began to speak. "My dear friend," she said, "Krishna is very clever in using words. No one can compete with him in that art. He can manufacture such colorful words and talk so sweetly that the heart of any woman would be misled. And besides that, he has perfected the art of smiling very attractively. And by seeing his smile, women become mad after him, and they give themselves to him without hesitation." Oh, the gopis, they said that Krishna has practiced his smiling art and he has perfected it. And so any woman that sees his smile, they become mad after him and they give themselves to him without hesitation. Then another gopi, after hearing this, they said, "My dear friends, what is the use of talking about Krishna? If you are at all interested in passing time by talking, then let us talk on some subject other than him. If cruel Krishna can pass his time without us, why can't we pass our time without Krishna? Of course, Krishna is passing his days without us very happily, but we cannot pass our days happily without him." So when the gopis were talking in this way, their feelings for Krishna became more and more intense. And they were experiencing Krishna's smiling, Krishna's words of love, Krishna's attractive features, Krishna's characteristics, and Krishna's embraces. They were experiencing that. By the force of their ecstatic feelings, it appeared to them that Krishna was personally present and dancing before them. And because of their sweet remembrance of Krishna, they could not check their tears, and they cried without consideration. So Lord Balaram, of course, he could understand the ecstatic feelings of the gopis, and therefore he wanted to pacify them. He was expert in presenting an appeal, and thus treating the gopis very respectfully. He began to narrate the stories of Krishna so tactfully that the gopis became satisfied. to keep the gopis in Vrindavan satisfied, Lord Balaram stayed there continuously for 2 months, namely the months of Chaitra, March to April, and Vaishak, April to May. For those 2 months, he kept himself among the gopis, and he passed every night with them in the forest of Vrindavan to satisfy their desire for conjugal love. Thus, Balaram also enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis during those 2 months. And since the season was springtime, the breeze on the bank of the Yamuna was blowing very mildly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, especially the flower known as kaumudi. Moonlight filled the sky, and it spread everywhere, and thus the banks of the Yamuna appeared very bright and pleasing. And Lord Balaram enjoyed the company of the gopis there. Tonight you will see the moon, the full moon. As you come out of the temple and you look in that direction, you'll see the full moon. Yes. Now, the demigod, who is known as Varuna, he sent his daughter Varuni in the form of liquid honey, oozing from the hollows of the trees. And because of this honey, the whole forest became aromatic. And the sweet aroma of the liquid honey, Varuni captivated Balaramji. Balaramji and all the gopis became very much attracted by the taste of the Varuni, and all of them drank it together. While drinking this natural beverage, all the gopis chanted the glories of Lord Balaram, and Lord Balaram felt very happy, as if he had become intoxicated by drinking that Varuni beverage. His eyes rolled in a pleasing attitude. He was decorated with long garlands of forest flowers, and the whole situation appeared to be a great function of happiness because of this transcendental bliss. Lord Balaram smiled beautifully, and the drops of perspiration decorating his face, they appeared like soothing morning dew. So, question has to be asked. These gopis that are enjoying with Balaram, are they Krishna's gopis? Are Krishna's gopis also observing these pastimes of Lord Balaram? Or are they somewhere else? Are they with Balaram during those 2 months? Krishna's gopis, are they with Balaram for those 2 months that Balaram was in Vrindavan? Yes or no? You have to answer yes or no. I'm talking about Krishna's gopis. Yeah. Yeah. What else? He did? When did that happen? That Balaram has his own gopis. Give that mic. You can just take it off of that.
It's kind of stuck there.
Just take it off of the stand, the mic stand.
But at the time of Holy Purnima, then at that time there were many gopis who were not able to. There were some gopis showing some attraction for Baladeva, and so then Krishna said some remarks to Baladeva, like, I forgot exactly what
he noticed that.
Yeah.
And he mentioned it to Baladeva. Baladeva, you see those gopis over there? Are you understanding how they are looking at you and what kind of special attraction they have specifically for you? Are you noticing that? And Baladeva confirmed, yes. And Krishna said, those are your gopis, Balaram. Yeah. What? Well, it's mentioned that pastime is there. It's also there in Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Yeah. So, but Balaram is dancing Ras Leela. And he's dancing Ras Leela in the presence of Krishna's gopis. Is he dancing with Krishna's gopis? Or is he only dancing with his own gopis? Are Krishna's gopis observing this, and are their hearts being completely appeased by seeing Balaram dancing Ras Leela? Or are they hiding out somewhere in the distance?
I thought Krishna's gopis were somewhere else. I thought Baladeva came to consult Krishna's gopis, but they were somewhere else, and he was only dancing with his own gopis. No?
No. Ramghat, at Ramghat, which is the place where Lord Balaram performed this pastime, and we were just about to read how Yamuna Devi was pulled by his plow. So, it is described there. Well, first of all, I want to bring up another point in relation to this, which is that the very first chapter of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, he now glorifies his guru, Nityananda Prabhu, who is Baladeva himself. And he provides many, many shlokas to prove that Lord Balaram is actually Krishna himself. He's not someone else. Yes, he has his own individual identity, but actually he and Krishna are one. They're one personality, but they've come into two different forms. Of course, we know that Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. Is there any other expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is in the same category as Lord Balaram? No, not one single of the infinite expansions and incarnations of Krishna. Only Balaram. And Balaram is actually Krishna himself. And this is reiterated continually throughout the entire Chaitanya Bhagavat, and it's very specifically proven in Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that very first chapter of Chaitanya Bhagavat, which praman, evidence, does Vrindavan Das Thakur cite to show that actually Balaram is Krishna himself? Because only Krishna can dance Ras Leela. Only Krishna. Can Lord Ramachandra, Bhagavan, dance Ras Leela? Can Narayan dance Ras Leela? Can Vamanadev? Can any of the other incarnations or expansions, can they come to Braj and dance Ras Leela with the gopis? No. Never. Why will Krishna's gopis, we just heard how they were talking to Lord Balaram, and how they were bringing up so many points from the core of their heart. And then they began weeping incessantly. How did that take place? Were they suffering this separation from Krishna? And Lord Balaram was only appeasing his own gopis, and they were left to cry on their own, all alone? No. By their seeing Balaram, they were directly experiencing Krishna's presence, fully, and therefore their hearts were appeased, you see. Now, of course, there's some certain maryada, etiquette, and so forth in Braj Riti, you know. So, the question about Lord Balaram dancing Ras Leela and doing this in that 2-month period, continually, all night long, Lord Balaram is with the gopis. So the question is raised, did Balaram also interact with Krishna's gopis?
He consoled them, but he didn't engage in
He what?
He consoled them.
Consult. You mean he only spoke with them?
Did he engage in gossip? I didn't see that.
It's good that I asked this question. So, at Ramgat, I had the opportunity to ask this question from Gurudev. Kind of like at the end. And we were reading the Braj Mandala Parikrama book, and there it also describes how Lord Balaram, how he danced Ras Leela. So then the question comes, could he dance Ras Leela with Krishna's gopis or not? Would that be inappropriate? Would that be possible for Lord Balaram to dance Ras Leela? And then Gurudev began to explain who is Balaram. He's actually Krishna himself. And what is Balaram's mood? Although he is the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead, from whom everything emanates, creator of everything, all expansions ultimately come from him. And in Braja, he is Krishna's older brother, and all these pastimes in Braja are going on eternally. And he's functioning in that capacity as Krishna's older brother. But he also has many other functions. Why? Because his mood, although he's the supreme enjoyer, but what is his actual mood? His mood is service to Krishna. That is his predominant mood in everything that he does, everything that he says, is to serve Krishna. And we can read that in the 5th chapter of Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The whole chapter is about Nityananda Tattva and how Nityananda is Balaram. And in that chapter, then, it is described very clearly that Baladeva Prabhu is always serving Krishna in many, many, many different capacities. Also, he expands himself to serve Krishna as Krishna's sitting place, as Krishna's shoes, as Krishna's umbrella, his bedstead, all of this. And, of course, he is Ananta Shesh himself, who is supporting and maintaining all the universes on his hoods. But he doesn't even feel them there. He's not even feeling at all the presence of this heavy weight of universes, you see. But whatever Balaram does when he expands himself, it's always for the service of Krishna. Nothing outside of that. And when he takes part in Krishna's pastimes, in the Bom Leela, in Braja, and then in Mathura and in Dwarka, he facilitates the pastimes in many, many different ways. So in this case, Lord Balaram decided on his own, I'm going to Vrindavan. He was a little bit upset with Krishna, that why Krishna, why you're not going, why you promised this, that. So Balaram came. And Balaram's purpose and his function was to serve Krishna by serving Krishna's gopis. So although in the mundane sense, if an ordinary material body of a male and a female dance together, it's for their own enjoyment. But Baladev doesn't have that mood at all. Especially with Krishna's own eternal consorts. So, is it possible for Balaram to dance in that mood with them? Gurudev told yes. It is not inappropriate. But on the other side, it is true that Balaram does also. He has his own gopis. Yes.
Was it at separate times? Because in the Srimad Swami, in the Grihad Vaishnava Toshani, he said that, he says, Sri Baladeva first solaced those gopis who were attached to Krishna and thus fulfilled the principal purpose of his visit. And then it says, thereafter, he enjoyed spring pastimes with other gopis. And And so it says first he consoled Krishna's gopis, which is the
Right.
primary purpose of this visit.
Got it.
After he
But it doesn't say there, where were those Krishna's gopis? Well, Balaram was doing all these activities for 2 entire months throughout the days and nights. Where were Krishna's gopis? Did they just sit it out back at their houses in Braj?
Vishwanath Chaudhary Thakur says that the Ramghat pastimes happen far away from, but that's
The which pastimes?
the pastimes at Ramghat
Oh, Ramghat, yes.
happen far away from. But
Yeah.
That might be difficult. But he said that
Oh.
he made the point that happened far away from the place
Yeah.
where Krishna was not getting resources.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that
Yeah. No, we can research and we can find. But the conclusion that I drew from Gurudev is that, yes, it's possible. Not impossible. But there's just like, it's like there's certain things in Srimad Bhagavatam, like, for example, the fact that Krishna is truly the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and not the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But yet, for the purpose of narrating, Shukadev Goswami doesn't reveal that. It's our acharyas that bring that out in their commentaries. Why? Because he's speaking to one of the Yadu dynasty, king of the Yadu dynasty, Parikshit Maharaj, who knows that he's a relative of Krishna in his dynasty, you know. So certain things are sometimes mentioned and sometimes not mentioned. But I became very convinced by that explanation. And you have found some little reference there from Srila Sanatana Goswami by saying thereafter Krishna. But that doesn't necessarily say that for the entire 2 months. It doesn't specify that. That for the first few days and then for the rest of the 2 months thereafter. It doesn't specify that. So, but anyway, I'm appreciating the fact that this subject matter has been stirred, you know, because very relishable topic. So Lord Balaram, now he was intoxicated with what? Varuni. And also the gopis were completely intoxicated by Varuni, who is the daughter of Varuna, the god of the ocean, but she was sent there to exude from all the trees and everything this wonderful sap and syrup, which was totally intoxicating, Varuni beverage. You know, it's funny because in the early days of our living in the Krishna consciousness movement, I remember that there wasn't a specification from Srila Prabhupada about, you know, the different restrictions of different vegetables and fruits and this and that you can't take on Vishnu Tattva days. But because it was like Balaram's appearance day, when it was Balaram's appearance day, they cooked up a feast and they put honey in like many different preparations, you know, and they even had these little rolls, so, you know, which were oozing with honey. And so this was the way that the devotees were celebrating, you know, Baladeva purnima. So anyway, now we're going to hear what happened. While Balaram was in that happy mood, yes, that he smiled so beautifully, he was in transcendental bliss, and all the Varuni beverage, his eyes rolled in a pleasing attitude. He was decorated with long garlands of forest flowers, and the whole situation, it appeared to be a great function of happiness because of this transcendental bliss. So Lord Balaram smiled beautifully, and the drops of perspiration decorating his face appeared like soothing morning dew. Now, while Balaram was in that happy mood, he desired to enjoy the company of the gopis in the water of the Yamuna, and therefore he called the Yamuna to come nearby. But at that place, when we go there, to Ramghat, the Yamuna is not so far away from there. So when he called the Yamuna to come, but Yamuna neglected the order of Balaramji, considering him intoxicated. Then Lord Balaram became very much displeased at the Yamuna's neglecting his order, and he immediately wanted to scratch the land near the river with his plowshare. Lord Balaram has two weapons. What are they? A plow and what else? A club, from which he takes service when they are required. This time, he wanted to bring the Yamuna by force, and he took the help of his plow. He wanted to punish the Yamuna because she did not come in obedience to his order. So he addressed the Yamuna, "You wretched river! You did not care for my order. Now I shall teach you a lesson. You did not come to me voluntarily, and now with the help of my plow, I shall force you to come. I shall divide you into hundreds of scattered streams." Now when the Yamuna was threatened like this, she became greatly afraid of the power of Balaram, and immediately came in person, falling at his lotus feet and praying thus, "Oh my dear Balaram, you are the most powerful personality, and you are pleasing to everyone. But unfortunately, I forgot your glorious, exalted position. But now I have come to my senses. And I remember that you hold all the planetary systems on your head merely by your partial expansion, Shesha. And you are the sustainer of the whole universe. My dear Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are full with 6 opulences, and because I forgot your omnipotence, I have mistakenly disobeyed your order, and thus I have become a great offender. But, my dear Lord, please know that I am a soul surrendered unto you, who are very affectionate to your devotees. So therefore, please excuse my impudence and mistakes, and by your causeless mercy, may you now release me." So upon displaying this submissive attitude, then the Yamuna was forgiven. And when she came nearby, Lord Balaram enjoyed the pleasure of swimming in her waters along with the gopis, in the same way that an elephant enjoys himself along with his many she-elephants. And after a long time, when Lord Balaram had enjoyed to his full satisfaction, he came out of the water, and immediately a goddess of fortune offered him a nice blue garment and a valuable necklace made of gold. And after bathing in the Yamuna, Lord Balaram, dressed in blue garments and decorated with golden ornaments, he looked very attractive to everyone. Lord Balaram's complexion is white, and when he was properly dressed, he looked exactly like the white elephant of King Indra in the heavenly planets. And the river Yamuna still has many small branches due to being scratched by the plowshare of Lord Balaram. And all these branches of the river Yamuna still glorify the omnipotence of Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram and the gopis, they enjoyed transcendental pastimes together every night for 2 months. And time passed so quickly that all those nights appeared to be only one night. In the presence of Lord Balaram, all the gopis and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan became as cheerful as they had been before in the presence of both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. And thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 65th chapter of Krishna. Lord Balaram visits Vrindavan. Gaur Prem Anande, Hari Hari Bol, Shri Balaram Jiv Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai, Balaram Rasayatra Ki Jai, Jai Shri Braj Mandala Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Vrijvasi Gan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Yes, so that completes our discussion of the Lord Balaram's Ras Leela dancing pastime. But it's interesting that in the presentation of Vrindavan Das Thakur, like I mentioned in the first chapter, he cites these verses from this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam to prove that actually Lord Balaram is Krishna. He's not a different personality. Otherwise, he could not dance Ras Leela. So that always has to be remembered. And this is especially the reason why in Gaur Leela, so Lord Balaram has come as Nityananda Prabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Mahaprabhu. Actually, there are three Prabhus. One is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one is Nityananda Prabhu, and the other is Advaita Charya Prabhu. They're called the three Prabhus. And they're all expansions of Godhead in the Panchatattva. And then the other two personalities are expansions of the Shakti. Is the Shakti herself, Srimati Radhika herself, has come as Gadadhar. But Srivas Thakur is the representation of all Shaktis in the form of Jiva Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. And these are all manifestations of Godhead. It's not that there's a oneness between them. So to differentiate between them is not a person in full knowledge will not do that, will not differentiate, because they are equally the manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And that's discussed in chapter 7, of the Adi Leela, like I was mentioning the other day, about, what is the title of that? It was printed as a separate book. Oh, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. So those 5 features, the Panchatattva, are actually Krishna. They're actually Mahaprabhu himself. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain the verse Panchatattva?
You mean who's who? So the first line, Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam. So these 5 personalities, Panchatattva, 5 truths, these are Krishna. Atmakam, Krishna himself. Bhakta Rupa. Krishna is now appearing as a Bhakta Rupa, the form of a Bhakta, of a devotee. So Krishna, Supreme Lord, is now appearing as his devotee. Swarupakam, that's Lord Nityananda, Bhakta Swarup.
That form is Krishna as a devotee is Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, Bhakta Rupa. Each one is Bhakta. The whole verse is filled with Bhakta, 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 Bhakta. So, Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam is Lord Nityananda, Balaram. Bhakta Avataram is Sri Advaita Charya, Avatar, expansion. Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Bhaktakyam means Bhakta Shaktikam. Yes, hello? Yes? Hello? From where? Oh, Parcel. Are you here? Are you here now? In Keshavji Gaudiya Math. Okay, so they will come to meet you right now. Coming. It's a different person. This is, anyway. So, Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shakti. Bhakta Shakti Kam means the complete Shakti. Bhakta Shakti Kam means Srimati Radharani, the Purna Shakti. And Bhakta Akyam means known as a Bhakta. So that is Srivas Thakur. In that way, Panchatattva are glorified That verse is written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So, so the proof is given in the first chapter that the Ras Leela danced by Balaram, the first chapter of Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Balaram's Ras Leela is glorified and praised and relished by who? The topmost great sages, rishis, all exalted transcendental personalities who never ever have any attraction or glorification of mundane exploits of the jivas in terms of romantic affairs and so forth. They never have anything, any attraction for that. But yet, those same personalities glorify the Ras Leela of Lord Balaram. Okay? That's how Vrindavan Das Thakur frames this presentation. And the purport written by Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, for that verse. Do you know how many pages long that purport is? It's about at least 20 pages long. And what does Srila Prabhupada do, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati? He begins from the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He goes through the entire 12 cantos and he extracts all relevant shlokas proving this point, that transcendental, exalted, pure personalities have no attachment or attraction at all for any mundane, lusty exchanges of this world. They reject that, but yet they glorify the Ras Leela of Lord Baladeva.
Sri Sangha Koren Ninda.
Yes, condemning. Yes. Yes. So the thing is that when we hear about this on these special days, then we hear the descriptions from Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth, and this enriches our state of consciousness and gives us some little tiny glimpse into the sweetness of all of these beautiful, sweet, transcendental exchanges, Braj Ras Bhav. So, on Lord Balaram's Ras Leela Day, we have this opportunity to hear and chant about the pastimes of Lord Balaram. And in the same way, we can also begin to hear and chant about Krishna's Vasanta Ras. And that will be from the Gita Govinda. So I'm making a short announcement that I had a little bit of a, what do you call it? Some relaxation period after many, many months of constant classes. But now I'm going to resume starting today, on this auspicious day. Now I'm going to resume having classes 3 times weekly, on the Tuesday, on Thursday, and on Sunday. Of course, according to our Vaishnava calendar, we may also swap days on certain occasions as we go through these coming months. But now what I'm planning to study and dive into is, first of all, I wanted to complete Manasiksha, because I announced many months ago that we were going to do Upadeshamrita and Manasiksha, and we did some preliminary discussions of Upadeshamrita, and we covered that nicely to a certain extent. But we haven't yet begun Manasiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami. And my intention was at the time that in order for us to generate the proper mood, first of all we should study the Ragvartma Chandrika of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in which he's specifying about this pathway of Ragmarg Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, which is what we want to ultimately be blessed with, attraction and attachment for that. So the Manasiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami is his instructions to his own mind, and he's playing the role of a sadhak, which is what he did with his whole life's example, but specifically in relation to his bhajan in Braj, how he executed that bhajan of the divine couple Radha and Krishna in Braj, and what is required for all aspiring sadhaks as they want to gradually enter into these extremely deep and confidential moods of worship of Radha and Krishna and discussion of all the pastimes of the Lord. Like we have the prayers, the Gurvastakam prayers by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and the 5th shloka is discussing how Sri Guru is always absorbed and is always lolupasya. He is always desiring, he's always hankering to do what? Sri Radhika Madhava Ayora Para Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namnam. What does that mean? That means that Sri Guru is always aspiring pratikshana at every single moment. Pratikshana asvadana, to taste. Lolupasya. He is just so much, he has so much lolium and so much desire to be relishing and tasting the beautiful pastimes. Shri Radhika Madhava Yora Para Madhurya Lila. Their Madhurya Lila pastimes, their rasa exchanges. Guna Rupa Nam Nam. And their beautiful forms, their qualities, and their various beautiful Braj Ras names that are given to them, the divine couple, in Braj, according to all of their different pastimes. So, and then the ultimate attainment, Sri Guru is actually situated there. That means a guru who is in that stage, who is a Uttam Mahabhagavat, who is actually fully perfected, has realized his eternal spiritual form, and he is absorbed internally in that form, serving Radha and Krishna 24 hours in Braj, and externally, like the 6 Goswamis, is performing his sadhan bhajan very, very intensively with the sadhak deha, with the body that of the sadhak. So Raghunath Das Goswami, of course, he also wrote the book Vilapa Kushamanjali, which is the culmination of all of his efforts and all of his deep moods of aspiring for the service of Srimati Radharani, Radha Dasyam, in the association of the gopis. That book is telling the final goal, you see. So that's why Raghunath Das Goswami is called our what? Prayojan Tattva Acharya. He is the Acharya of the ultimate Prayojan, that for which all are aspiring, that one day in some future life I will attain this by the mercy of Sri Guru, Hari Guru and Vaishnavas. But without the sadhana, it will not be attained. Anyone can say, oh, I like to hear about these. But unless you do the sadhana, unless you are qualified, you have the adhikar to become absorbed day and night in serving Radha and Krishna in Braj, internally and externally. Seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena chatrahi. Unless you have that, then you can only aspire. But that aspiring is also part of the sadhana. That aspiration is necessary. If there's no discussion of this, then why did Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur put that in the most elementary beginning stage Ashtakam, Gurvashtakam, that all sadhaks should chant. It is there. It is there in the sixth, the fifth and the sixth shlokas. Nikunja yuno rati keli siddhai. If we are not meant to know about these, then why in the world are they there in our Gurvashtakam? So we should know that the pathway of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all of our great acharyas up to Raghunath Das Goswami, they are all leading us there to Braj. They are all expressing their moods in this world by writing these books, writing these literatures. And they're revealing, just like every evening when we sing Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. So there it's telling H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilavas, that these 6 Goswamis, by the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they went to Braj and they lived in Braj, called Brajvas, Braje Koilavas. And while they were living in Braj, what did they do? Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodilo Prakash. They revealed the eternal pastime, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila, which were not even given in Srimad Bhagavatam. But they revealed these pastimes because Mahaprabhu inculcated this into their hearts. And as they went everywhere in Braj, in extreme separation moods, Hey Radhe Braja Devike Chalalite, Hey Nanda Suno Kutaha, Shri Govardhana Kalpapad Patale Kalindi Vanye Kutaha. Like this, searching everywhere in Braj. Where are you? Where are you? So we should know that this Sad Goswami Astakam, written by Srinivasa Acharya, this is the perfect description of these eternal associates of Radha and Krishna who have descended in Gaur Leela and demonstrated in their own life how the sadhaks, for all future of this Danya Kali Yuga, for all the next hundreds and thousands and lakhs of years, they will all know how to apply the teachings of Mahaprabhu in their life. And gradually, they can move forward and become more and more qualified that one day real greed will come into the heart. Real lolyam. It will come into the heart. And at that time, they will become so overwhelmed, wanting to hear and chant these pastimes. Just like we said, Shri Radhika Madhava Yora Para Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namnam. At every single moment. So this is our pathway. But we cannot artificially imagine and try to act as if we are qualified to enter there. Because if we do that, what will happen? Anarthas will overwhelm. Then you'll be dragged down to a degraded position. So, therefore, we should always associate with superior Vaishnavas. We should always associate with Vaishnavas who have these moods within their heart, Braj Bhav Ras. And this is especially why our Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj was selected by our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to help all of his disciples into the future. So he very clearly, in a very practical way, he also showed by his own example as he went all throughout the whole world many times how to live the life of a sadhaka in the line of Rupa Goswami. And it means that you also have to practice the sadhana. You have to practice the rules and regulations. Some will be not practiced. That's described as we just read in Ragvartma Chandrika, because they're Bhav Viruddha, because they're not favorable for the development of the bhavs that we want for worshipping Radha and Krishna in Braj. Like, for example, to meditate upon the worship of the queens of Dwarka. To make that the center focus of your worship. That's not allowed in the pathway of Ragmarg Bhakti. You know. So we will study the Manasiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami, which is only 11 verses. Actually, it's 12 verses. And then, after that, we're going to begin the Bhajan Rahasya. And the Bhajan Rahasya of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it is the most quintessential nectarine shastra for our guidance. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also helped to edit that book. But it is the roadmap based upon the 8 verses of Sikshastakam given by Mahaprabhu. And then each chapter is expanding on one of those 8 verses. And also Gita Govinda, written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is quoted at the end of each chapter. And there is a key verse, I don't know, it has a particular name in Sanskrit, like the culmination verse of each time period of Krishna's 24 hours, the 8 Ashtakal Leelas. So it summarizes, in the Gita Govinda, it summarizes what takes place in that period. Oh, did I say? Yeah, Govinda Lilamrita, not Gita Govinda. Yeah, Govinda Lilamrita. So I think there's a lot of nectar awaiting for us. And it's, I can feel and see that we should always go on with this katha and these studies, and we should try to take them deeply within our hearts. And they're very purifying to be in the association of the Vaishnavas who are attentively hearing and chanting in these pastimes. So I'm offering my Dandavat pranams at the lotus feet of Srila Vamshi Vadanananda Thakur, the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was also present in Lord Nityananda's, his parikrama of Navadwip Dham. And then also Sri Shyamananda Prabhu. And there's another book that I want to obtain. I don't have a copy of it here. It's called Prem Vilas. And in that book, there's very detailed explanations of the lives of these 3 great personalities, Shyamananda Prabhu, Srinivasacharya, and Narottam Das Thakur, and other of their associates. So I will get that book. I heard that it's available in Mayapur. It's being sold there. So, okay, any comments before we finish the class today? Comments or questions?
Balaram, as you said, has 2 weapons, cloud and the mace.
Mm-hmm.
Club. So, the Mahabharata explains that Duryodhana was the student of Balaram.
Mm-hmm. Club fighting, specifically, yeah.
And so is Bhima.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Balaram didn't want to be present for the whole Mahabharata.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
You're talking about the battle of Kurukshetra, yeah.
I'm trying to put this into question, but I guess I just wanted to relate how Balaram's expertise in Karma. He was also the guru of Bhima and Duryodhana, who ultimately ended up fighting against each other with the club. Of course,
But Balaram had a very affectionate relationship with Duryodhana.
exactly.
Yeah. He was very favored towards him. So therefore he didn't like that Duryodhana was tricked, kind of, and finished by being. Yeah, so the chronology I'm not exactly sure of. I know that Achutalal Bhatta Prabhu, that he has given a chronology of those years, because Krishna was on the planet 125 years. So there's some chronology. I saw that Nagari Didi showed me that one time. That exactly where was he, where was Krishna, when did Balaram do his pilgrimage, and so forth. To some extent we can understand that from the chapters of the 10th canto, when Balaram came to Vrindavan. But it was much later, after many, many years.
I wanted to ask one thing.
In the what?
In Jaivat Karma,
Yeah.
it said that the souls of associates for eternal pastimes, they are coming from Balarama. Our jivas come from Akshaya Vishnu when he looks at Mahamaya.
Because there's two categories of jivas. There's two different categories. That's directly stated in the Das Mul Tattva of Mahaprabhu. One category of jivas, they are Nitya Siddha, they've never been conditioned, and they never fall. And the other category of jivas, they can become covered by the external energy. So those two categories, ultimately, both jivas in their perfectional stage, they're non-different. But for the purpose of Krishna's pastimes, in his creation of millions and millions of universes, because why does Krishna do that? Krishna does everything for one main reason, and that is for him to taste rasa. So there is existing a category of jivas who have not been in the eternal spiritual world, and they have come into the material creation, and they have come from the Tatastha region. But that's the Tatastha, everybody wants to start thinking with their material brain, well, where is that? Where is that located? Okay, but that's irrelevant. Because Krishna is infinite. So for his infinite pastimes, there are these very specific categories. So what we can call are the jivas who can be covered by Maya. They emanate from Mahavishnu, Karanadakashai Vishnu. That is their emanation. But if we say they emanate from there, does it mean that they didn't exist before that? No, they exist. They exist. But they have not yet had the realization and the darshan of Krishna, of the eternal spiritual world. The conditioned jivas do not have that. But by the association of the Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas who are sent into this world, they gradually become capable of being elevated to the spiritual world. Does that answer your question? No, that's in the spiritual world. There's two categories. So Balaram, they come from Balaram. In one sense, all jivas come from Balaram, because the expansion, Mahavishnu and so forth, is none other than Balaram expansion, and ultimately Krishna's expansion. That's how we can say Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishner Nitya Das. All jivas, they are eternally servants of Krishna. That's their Swarup. Yes. All right? Okay. Gaur Premanandi. do a short Hare Krishna mantra. You want to hand me that gong? This is the madanga we got from the office. Yeah, that other madanga is still there at the repair shop.
Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari
Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari
Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe
Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Shamananda Prabhu Shamananda Shamananda Prabhu Shamananda
Jaya Shamananda Jaya Shamananda Shamananda Jaya Shanananda
Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jai Gurudeva 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 Jai Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada
Prabhupada Jai Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai
Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Vrindai Tulsidev Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.